So now we're going to kind of get into actually looking at and running some of the commands. I'm going to run through a few demos. We'll kind of go through them a little bit quickly because then I want to actually get you guys looking at it. But I want to set a little bit of the groundwork so you're a little bit familiar with volatility, because from this point on we're basically only going to talk about volatility. When we're doing the actual exercise and you want to, if you want to test out Mandiant's tool, I mean, feel free, right? I mean, I'm certainly not going to discourage you from doing that. But we're going to be talking about it from a volatility perspective. When I demo stuff, I'll show it from a volatility perspective and things like that. So just to kind of be familiar with kind of some of the modules that are available in volatility, the way that, and they use modules or plugins, however you want to describe it. But things like process listings are probably the area where you're going to start first, right? Get a listing of processes and kind of build your analysis from there. You can also do things like dump process memory and then search within that. Associate a user with a process and things like that. Different permissions that are associated with a process. One thing I want to point out is like the process listing is going to be very similar to task list output, right? So that is a good kind of comparison area there. Memdump just really kind of gets things into a more manageable perspective. So if you're interested in one process and you want to look for a string or something like that within that process, it allows you to basically get only that section of memory, which is more manageable, right? You're basically taking a smaller bit and turning it down into something. Or you're taking a larger memory image and turning it into a smaller little memory dump from the process. So here's the basic syntax of those commands, right? And this is, again, kind of for reference purposes, but we'll come back to this quite a bit. I want to point out that, I would recommend using this structure for your commands, right? So you do, kind of vol.py, you specify the profile, you then specify the file with the -f option, and then you put the thing that you want to run at the end. And the reason is because then you can use the up arrow and just backspace, and you can change this to this to this to this, right? So it makes it a lot easier rather than having to type out that entire string again, We'll walk through that, but that's, kind of, I would recommend this format.
Out of curiosity, is there a way to type a list of commands to just script it?
To script,
The volatility analysis.
Yeah, I mean, it's just command line stuff, so you can run a batch script and then pipe them to files if you wanted to, right? I don't know if there's any mechanism within volatility to script. So what we're going to talk about, this is kind of not related necessarily to volatility, right? It's really kind of related to just Linux, Unix, or in Windows in this case, where you can use things like grep to basically filter output. To kind of refine the data that you're actually interested in, right? I mean, has everyone used grep before in some way, shape, or form? It's basically just a text filtering mechanism, right? So you take your command, you pipe it through grep. So you run volatility, pslist, grep for command.exe, right? And it'll only show you lines where command.exe exists, right? You can also do it with, you can incorporate this with the strings command, which we'll talk about as well, which allows you to basically take output and filter that. Strings output, so only the text output, and filter it even further.